everyone, this is Edwin Olvera from Edwin Olvera Dance and Creative Services, and I get the special privilege to interview Angel Alexander. I've worked with him in the past for Pride Fest 2012. He was one of my voguers and dancers, an all-around good guy for that event. And that was back in 2012. It was a huge, huge production here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What I admire so much about Angel is his hard work, his focus, his movement. It's a very different style of movement that I physically do. But watching you perform, and even when it was during the auditions, I was taken back by the amount of energy you and your team have when presenting voguing and everything else. There's a big event that's coming up over this weekend, which I really want to plug, because I remember both you and I had lots of conversations in the past about you wanting to put on an event, and now it's actually happening. So kudos to you. Angel, here's right now he's in transit, so he just finished doing rehearsal with his group. What is the name of your group, Angel?
Elite Diamonds Dance Team.
And where do you guys rehearse at?
We rehearse at a studio, a dance studio on Fond du Lac Avenue.
Got it. Do you guys ever do any stuff or rehearse over at the LGBT Center?
No, we haven't started transitioning because, for the simple fact, this is a new dance team. So we're trying to pretty much get through the basics first, and then once we actually start experiencing more performances and more dance competitions, then we will start transitioning over to bigger spaces.
I understand. Sometimes you got to start small and then work your way to those bigger goals, especially with venues and rehearsal spaces and all the other stuff.
Yes, sir.
So here's the thing. I want to know, like, how did you get started into dancing? Like, what were some of the early signs as a child that maybe you, your parents, or your uncles or aunts noticed that you were going to be a mover?
How I first started is when I fell in love with dance when I first saw my first music video ever, and the first music video that I ever saw was Michael Jackson's "Remember the Time." And
yeah, that's a good one.
It really is. And when I saw that video, I fell in love with the video, not only just for the costumes and because it was Michael Jackson, but because of the choreography as well. The choreography intrigued me. I started actually physically dancing when I was like at least a good 6-7 years old. And since then I've been moving. I've been really like jamming and moving. So I was on my first dance team when I was in 7th grade. I don't remember the name of the dance team, but I know we were a step/dance team, and my first performance was at my school's Black History program, and we performed to R. Kelly's "Step in the Name of Love." And I will never forget that. My mother came to the performance, and she sat in and saw me perform for the first time in front of like a lot of people, including the whole school, and it was just an amazing performance. And since then, I've been performing pretty much in different places around the city of Milwaukee.
Now, that's wonderful. When did you start getting into voguing? When did you get into that style of movement?
I didn't start getting into voguing until I was in high school. I was a senior in high school, and I was the captain of my high school dance team. And one of my dancers that I had on my dance team, we were all at dance practice, and we were having a little free time. So one of the dancers, we wanted to freelance and see what everybody had to incorporate into a new style of movement so we can get ready for competition season. So, one of my dancers, he introduced me to voguing. I never knew anything about it. He started voguing, and I just started mimicking everything he did. At first it was for fun, but then I took a very big liking to it, and then I started really studying it more and more as the days went by. And then once I started studying it more, it really intrigued me, and I wanted to start learning the moves and start learning the culture of Vogue. And Vogue is just a smaller version of a bigger element. So I started learning how to vote when I was a senior in high school. I think I was like 17.
Have you ever watched that movie called Paris is Burning?
Yes, sir. I watched it at this organization that I volunteer at called Project Q. Project Q is a youth center for youth between the ages of 13 and 24 for LGBT youth, and it's in the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center. I first learned about the movie there. They were having a movie night and they ended up playing the movie, and that's how I learned more about the ball culture and the ballroom thing.
Yeah, I was exposed to it to a friend of mine who I was dancing with professionally, and was playing the movie downstairs at the place that we were both staying at, and I was taken back by it, just by the simple fact of how, these openly gay men back in the 80s were expressing themselves and giving themselves a chance to feel grand and
Yep.
beautiful and sensual and everything else, and
Yep.
now you see it over the years. I mean, I've looked into it a little bit here and there, and I remember that there is now different classifications from when it was first came out in the 80s, And can you inform people the different styles that there are when it comes to the voguing, so that people have a better understanding of it?
Okay, so there's a lot of completely different styles. So one of them is dramatic. Dramatic is where it's more hardcore. It's more in your face type of dance style voguing. It's more faster. It's more break your back type dancing. There's another one called soft and cunt. Soft and cunt is pretty much, it's more softer, it slows down, it's more petite. As far as the different versions or the different people that vote, here is a couple of people that vote as far as, their category, categories are female figure, realness with a twist, and Vogue film. So Vogue film is for the more butchier boy, the more butchier or feminine boys that look like a man but are more feminine. Realness with a twist is for boys that act like a man, portray a masculine persona in a masculine role, but then they have a feminine twist to them. They vote very feminine. And then female figure is for the biological women or transsexual women that want to vote in the ballroom thing.
Wow. See, just you taking the time to tell me a little bit details about each category makes me start understanding a little bit more. In the balls, there must be some element of drag, but not like as in drag performance or shows, but people do dress up in drag. Am I correct?
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
you're correct. Yep, you're correct. A lot of people dress up. It all depends on the category and what they call for the category. So, they might call for Vogue film, they might call, you gotta dress up in some heels, a nice, looking wig and just dress up and come in with a tutu or a nice, skirt or, you have to vogue in with what the category calls for. So whatever the category calls for, that's exactly what you have to bring to the table.
And are there, in Milwaukee, how many balls would you call happen per year?
Well, Milwaukee is starting to really get there, really starting to get up there as a ballroom scene. We're not known just yet, we're not known like Chicago, New York, or, Los Angeles is, but we are trying to get up there to be an established state where we are known for our ball culture. We have had I believe 5 balls in the past 5 years. 5 balls in the past 5 years. So it's been, we have had a couple of balls in the city of Milwaukee, but it hasn't been every month or every 2 months. It'll probably happen every year or happen every other year because we're trying to really get our ballroom scene up there. So, we don't want to just rush we don't want to have a ball every month or every 2 months and then no one shows up. We want to really have an impact when we do our ballrooms, and so that's why we haven't started.
My older brother runs a nonprofit organization called the BOF movement, and they were doing, when my brother had passed on, they had been doing quite a bit of events every 2 or 3 months, but after a certain, point, it kind of diminished a little bit. So what they were doing is you hold it off to like maybe every 3 months or maybe every 6 months you do an event. That way there's you want people to show up. The more numbers, the more people, the better the vibe and the way people view it going forward. They see it as successful versus empty or quiet, Here's the thing. What were some other styles of movement that influenced you that had nothing to do with, like, say, voguing or nothing to do with dancing? Anything different? Like, did you do any sports at all growing up, or?
I played track and field. I did track and field. Other than that, I wasn't really a big sports person. I was more of a artiste. I like to do a lot of dancing, singing, modeling, acting. I'm more versatile in that type of area. The only sport that I really played was or really did was track and field.
Got it. Here's a question. Did you go to any of the high school of the arts?
No. It's funny because I had a chance to go to the high school of arts, but my mother sent my registration forms in late, and I didn't get accepted. So it was a kind of lose situation, but I ended up going to this high school called North Division, and the dance team that I was on, they taught me a lot because in the beginning stages of my actual dancing, they told me that I didn't have any rhythm. So when I first started getting on the dance team, when I first started on my dance team, I got cut the first time. So they told me
it's hard to believe because you're a hell of a performer. That's why I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, they cut me the first time, but they told me to come try again next year. So I practiced. I went home and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and then the next year I came and showed them what I got, and I got accepted into the dance band.
Oh man, that's wonderful. All that trial and error. Here's a question. This has to do with injuries. What are some, especially because the style of voguing that I've seen you do has been incredibly physical when you're doing those death drops and the duck walks and all that. It's really a lot on your joints, on your knees and on your back. So have you ever had any injury, and if so, how did you recover from it?
I've had an injury. I sprained my ankle from trying to slam on my legs too hard, and if I was injured for like a couple of weeks, what I did to heal my leg is pretty much sit on it. Not sit on it, but sit down and just relax and just stay away from voguing for a while. What I did is practice on the other elements that I could practice on, as far as like hand performance and that's pretty much what was about it, was my hand performance. Everything else involved my legs. So I couldn't really do much as far as just my hand performance. But I really recovered. I soaked my feet in hot water and just sat back and recovered for a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's good. What's so great about your response is the simple fact that although you were injured, you found other ways to keep expressing your movement. Okay, sure, your legs are out, but now you can work on your hands and you can articulate your face or positioning, right? Hey, if that doesn't work, then I can start working on the costume, or how is it going to, the layering of the clothing is going to look on me as I'm moving through the space. It's like, I think sometimes when people get injured, they totally stop completely, and I think that's a very strange mindset. You need to rest, but you also need to be able to still keep your momentum, so that when you are healed, you can hopefully get back in as seamless as possible.
Yep. You're right.
Here's a question. So, what are some of your current projects you have going on for 2016?
Okay, so the current projects that I am working on is the drag show, of course, the GWM drag show, which is coming up this Saturday, February 27th. I'm also going to be performing at La Cage nightclub this Friday, on the 26th of February. I will be performing at the Alverno Drag Show in April, and also the UW Madison's drag show in April. I'll be going to Minnesota. I'll be back. I'll be back up dancing for someone in Minnesota for a pageant, a male pageant, and then I'll also be doing my own pageant in April. So April is pretty much a busy month for me. Hopefully I'll be dancing at Pride Fest again this year.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, then I'm going to be working on Vogue Night here, which is pretty much like Vogue Night is pretty much like it's like a warm up for balls. It's like a warm up for balls. Like, so what you do is go to the Vogue Night and, you know, work out your category. It's pretty much like a ball, but it's more of a miniature. It's like more mini type. So it's like you just go practice your skills around different people and compete against different people to pretty much freshen up your skills. So when you do go to a ball, you'll be ready to actually compete in the ballroom thing.
It sounds a little bit like, to me, because my brother Robert used to be a breakdancer. It sounds a little bit like when people go breakdancing, you know, you want to compete against rival teams, because then you get to start, because of the spontaneity of being around another group that maybe is a rival or whatever, it forces you to be much more expressive, much more creative, much more on point with your craft.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like,
Yeah.
I can view it that way, that it is in a sense a battling, but it's just a different version of it. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. And is it going to be like these miniature balls? Are they going to be kind of like a bi-weekly thing or a monthly thing? You know, separate from the grand event.
We're gonna start monthly. They're usually bi-weekly depending on where you go, but we're gonna start doing it monthly and then see how good the audience comes in, or see how many people comes in or is in attendance, and then we'll start probably doing it bi-weekly once we see we're getting a good amount of attendance of people coming in.
Got it. Oh, how wonderful. I can't wait. You know, you just mentioned those other events just that are happening here in Milwaukee. I know that they're both drag shows. Are you dressing up in drag as well?
No, okay. So I'm a male entertainer. I perform as a male. Some people will call it male drag. But I'm a male entertainer. I perform as a male, and I perform male songs.
Oh, got it. Interesting. I never heard of that. Yeah.
Yep. So and then also there's a such thing as male I'm sorry
Go ahead.
male pageantry. Like how there's a pageant for drag queens, there's also a male for male drag queens.
Oh, wow. Oh, awesome. Listen,
So,
Angel, what are some things right now that inspire you as an artist and as a person?
well, the one thing that really inspires me as an artist and as a person, it's actually as a person. One person that inspires me as an artist is my best friend. He inspired me the most for me to get up and, do the things that I do. My best friend, his name was Greg Walters.
Mm-hmm.
We both were artists. He loves to draw. He also loves to perform. I'm a performer, so when we will always be around each other, we used to just come up with ideas and come up with like costumes and performances and mixes and just come up with routines. Like it was something that we love to do. We like to swap ideas and just come up with different and new things and put it into our performances and put it into our art. And that's how we express each other. I mean, that's how we express our art to people. It was like we love to come up with new things and see new things. And, it was that's something that's one person that I know that influenced me. Another person that influenced me was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is my ultimate favorite artist of all time. He, as a child, I grew up watching his videos and studying his videos and studying the choreography to his videos, and I really, really admired, that man. And, he is the reason why I created, the platform that I'm creating now. Also my other influence is one of my favorite artists as well, which is Sierra. I fell in love with her when she first came out, when I first saw her first video and her first song, which was Goodies. And she reminded me of a female version of Michael Jackson. So it really like, it captivated me when I saw her, and I wanted to be just like that. I wanted to move just like that. I wanted to, express myself the way they express themselves, and put they emotions and they positivity in their art. That's exactly what I wanted to do with my art.
Well, you're doing a good job, man. That's why, one of the reasons why I'm interviewing you, because I want people to hear you, hear your passion, hear your tone, hear what you're doing in Milwaukee. Because there are dancers who not only do, say, hip-hop or modern and all the other stuff, who may have the curiosity in voguing and in all these events that you're doing, from drag shows to this male pageantry to the ball, and they might come out and support and invite other people. And I think it's important for artists like myself to feature up-and-coming artists, because you guys need the voice, you need the spotlight, you need the attention, as in getting more exposure, letting people know that you guys exist, because you're doing awesome work, man. I mean,
thank you.
Truly,
thank you
truly
so
amazing.
much.
And you and I, we've seen each other more than a handful of times over the last 4 years, and I wish it would be more, as we both know, and I get caught up in my own personal work, but I don't ever forget people who I admire, and I know you're doing. I mean, that's why I can't wait to come out this weekend and watch you perform on Saturday. When I saw that thing posted up on Facebook, I'm like, oh man, I gotta check this out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wonderful time. Like this is my third time performing at the drag show, so it's really an experience. Thousands of people come to this event, and it's pretty much like a packed out show. So it's so packed out that they had to change their venue to Milwaukee Theater. So they originally had it at UWM and the UWM Union Hall. But they ended up having to change their venue because it got so packed that people were standing up, and that performers weren't able to move around as loose as they want to, because it was so many people in one area, so they couldn't move around.
And it causes restriction. Yeah. It causes, and not only is it restriction between the dancers, but just the vibe of it feels, claustrophobic sometimes when there's so many people in one spot. I understand.
Yeah.
Here's a question. This has to do with, so my next question is basically, if there was an artist that you had a chance to collaborate with, who would it be?
Do you mean as a mainstream artist?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a person like Sierra, like a pop star, or whether it's someone locally, or maybe people, somebody who's in the drag scene, or somebody who's like an event for the balls or pageantry. If there was a name that that I don't know, or people might know, who would it be?
Okay. Well, I have a couple of people in different areas. Well, as far as drag performances, I would love to work with Martell Infinity Ross. He's one of the local drag kings that perform here. Skylar Infinity Ross, Jada Essence Hall, Shannon Dupree. It's a few more people that I will work with that's locally here. As far as nationwide known, I would like to work with I'm sorry. I would like to work with Christopher Iman. He's a really known drag king and nationwide. So I would really love to work with him. And it's just a lot of people that I would love to work with. Um, as far as like mainstream artists, I would love to work with Sierra, Chris Brown, Beyonce, um, a lot of people that love to dance. Because I'm a dancer, so
Yeah.
I,
You don't want to be behind somebody who all they're doing is just singing, and there's no foreground movement. You're just like,
I
oh
mean,
god.
that's good, for them. If that's what they love to do. Walk around and sing. I have no problem with that. I love to move, and
You
and
need to
I
be
think,
around Gaga or something crazy.
yeah, like I love to move, and I can't sit still in one spot and just sing. I have to at least dance or move or do something. But
Yeah.
that's it. Dancing is what keeps me going. So, I would have to definitely work with a lot of mainstream artists that dance. And also, I would like to work with you again, Edwin. It really will be something like to work with you again, whether it's Pie Fest or just something, a different type of performance. I would love to work with you as far as performing wise. I
Oh
love
man,
to work
thank
in,
you. We
I
have
love
we
to
have
work,
a very we have a very good rapport, and again I really respect your hard work and effort. And I think um sometimes a lot of people they don't get the recognition that they need.
yeah.
And I'm not saying need in a needy way. I'm just saying that, like, man, sometimes there are these artists that are doing wonderful work in the city, and they get overshadowed by other things that are going on, and
Yeah.
they that not for them not getting the spotlight, it can like sometimes make you feel unappreciated. And I know
Yeah.
the hard work. I mean, for those of you who are listening to this podcast or this video that I'm doing, I mean, I remember the time when you guys were walking almost 40 blocks just to come down to Pride Fest,
Yeah.
and and to do the show, and then after the show walk 40 blocks from downtown all the way to the 40th, whatever, even more than 40 blocks in a pretty rough area of Milwaukee. And I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, and
Yeah.
some people were, wearing clothes a little more risque, and still, because the Pride Fest felt so powerful and protected, and kept showing their love and support no matter what, no matter when people were saying crap or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's a power in the youth, in the LGBT youth in Milwaukee, that it gets overlooked, and I hope that you guys get your respect and get your spotlight shining on you guys for 2016, because you deserve it, man. And I hope through this video, through your events that you're doing, it all comes full circle. So, and I first of all, I thank you for saying that, because I would love to work with you again. I'm really considering on how I can participate for Pride Fest for 2016, even if it's at a smaller scale, even if I don't get hired out as a big choreographer, that's fine by me. But I really miss it. And every year since 2012, I've been coming out and watching. I watch what you guys do on stage, because I support.
Yeah.
I believe in equality, and I believe that everyone has the right in this earth, to express themselves however they want. And so,
Yeah.
I'm a strong advocate for it.
Yeah.
If there was some advice that you could leave, let's really hyper focus it to the LGBT community, the younger artists that are coming up. What's one word of advice you would like to leave them?
Be you. Be you. Be you at all times. Don't allow people to tell you what you can or cannot do, or what you can or cannot wear, or what you can and cannot say or put in your art. Be you at all times. If this is something, if it's something that you want to do, or it's something that you want to express in your art, go ahead and do it. Don't have no barriers. Don't have no boundaries. Make just whatever you do, express your art the way you want to express it.
Very
And
well
that is
said.
my advice.
Oh my God, that's very well said. Angel, what are some places that people can find you on social media? What are some things that you use, and names, like, on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn?
Well, I have a couple of things. I have Facebook, I have Twitter, I have Instagram, I have Snapchat, and
Are they all under Angel Alexander, or do you go by other names as well?
I go by other names. Like all of them are totally different names. My Facebook is Angel Alexander, of course. My Instagram is Angel Alexander, but the username is Angel_Alexander10.
Mm-hmm.
My Snapchat is Angel A slash, it's like a dash, E10. And then my Twitter is King with two eyes, underscore, so it's King with two eyes, Angel, I forgot it. I think it's King_Angel A. Yep, I think it's King_Angel A. Yes. With two
Well, you
eyes.
know, the beautiful thing about this interview is that I'll find it online and I'll put it at the very end of the video. So even if you can't remember, don't worry, I'll help you. And this is the thing, you know, for those of you who are, again, listening to this interview, it's happening, you know, I'm here at my house and Angel is literally in transit. He had finished his rehearsal and was waiting for a bus. He's probably on the bus now, expressing himself fully while others are listening, and he's heading home. So again, I thank you for your time, and let's keep this communication continuing for 2016. I really, first of all, I can't wait till Saturday. I think it's going to be really fun, and I'll make sure to have this video up and ready on Saturday, a little bit after your event is done. So every night this video, every Saturday interview gets posted by 11:30 Central Time. So it'll be up after your event. But nevertheless, you can still plug it and promote it, and I will also do the same on social media.
Okay. And I definitely can't wait to work with you and continue to keep the communication with you as well. Because I definitely have a few things that I want to work on in the near future. And I definitely would love your involvement in them. So I definitely will continue to keep in contact and will continue to make sure I stay in a presence where you know where I'm at. Because I have a habit of pretty much going off of the radar for a while, and then
no worries. As we both know, as people, as artists, we come and go. We do a lot of creative things, and sometimes we need to take the break. I understand. I guess the last thing I want to leave you with is, if you haven't had a chance already, you should check out this show that a friend of mine's introduced me to. It's a show called Briefs. Okay. They're huge. They're male, like, burlesque show that's going on, like, in London, in Europe, in Hong Kong. A friend of mine who I worked with back in December, her partner is performing in that show. It's an all-male burlesque show. I think you would really enjoy it, and check it out online. It's called Briefs.
Okay. All right. I definitely will.
Angel, be well. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you soon, okay?
You too. And see you soon.
Hey everyone, this is Edwin Olvera from Edwin Olvera Dance and Creative Services. And in this particular Saturday interview, I get a chance to finally interview my own older brother, Edwin Olvera Jr. He is currently the head honcho, the supreme ruler of the BOF Movement, Inc., which is a nonprofit organization that was originally started by my second oldest brother named Frankie Olvera, who died less than 6 years ago from a rare and aggressive form of cancer. And what's so amazing about the fact that I get to interview my brother is the simple fact that he has been spearheading this whole movement with the BOF. After Frankie had passed on, Ephraim picked up the reins, and he's really involved so many people to help and spread the mission and the word of what the BOF is all about. Most of you don't know this, but when growing up with Ephraim, he's a hell of an artist, really good at drawing, and I believe you won an award in high school. And we both grew up, as you know, in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We originally started in Chicago growing up, and then our parents moved us up to Green Bay, and since then our life has changed. And the BOF movement is based in Green Bay because this is something that Frankie wished, and it's also majority of people are helping support what Ephraim's doing. So I guess, Ephraim, let's begin
just quickly, like, you know, with our upbringing, you know, through your point of view, what are some early signs that you noticed for yourself that you would be, for example, either leading a group of people, getting into this nonprofit type stuff?
Well, to be honest with you, in the beginning, I was always in roles where I had to be put as a leader for things, whether it be at my job or in school, in groups that I joined in the past. I've always had that leadership role. BOF, or Birds of a Feather,